today, like a lot more earlier. I mean, we're at 5 p.m. I don't even know if we've made it to 5, but we have to go do something, which there probably will be a video coming on it, but we don't really want to say anything because obviously I don't want to be in the video. But we have to go do something, and it's all reliant on when Billy really flicks his hand and we go. So once he does, then we're going. But I thought I'd try and I did actually do a post and deleted it very shortly after because I said it was going to be at 8. So I thought, well, I'll do it after whatever we're doing. But then I thought, no, I'll just do it first, and we don't, there's no risk of me being overtime and not actually getting back for 8. So I just thought, here we go, we'll do it now. We've got some really interesting news stories, probably some ones with a bit of a debate to them as well. I've had to learn them as fast as I can, so we're going to try our best, but they're pretty good ones, but I feel like we'll manage it just fine. Hopefully everybody will have seen the post, so they'll know what time we're on and the fact of what time it is. But shall we get started?
It's a bit quiet at the moment.
I think it will be quite quiet, to be honest.
I think you'll all be watching it later.
Yeah,
You'll be out in the garden.
Yeah, and we are in the Austin. I was going to do it in Princess, but where Princess is parked, the internet connection is not the best, so I had to move to Austin instead, but that's fine.
We've had quite a traumatic time with this news, haven't we?
We have had quite a traumatic time with this news. Yes, and there's been a lot going on.
Yeah.
But I did do a live concert yesterday, which was really, really good. It went really, really well. So if you haven't already seen it,
it was a wonderful success, wasn't it? We had a really good laugh. Well, you got 4 people on, go for it.
And a lot of people have been saying about the fact of how good it was as well. So that's good. It's nice to hear. And we'll be doing some more. I want to do one next week because I don't think I'll be able to do one for a bit after next week. So I'd like to do one next week. So I'm going to try and do that.
We could do a joint thing with the news.
Well, yeah, we could do, but we could do, but the only thing is, I don't know though, I might just do them separately. But what stories shall we do first?
Whichever you want.
Which one do you think?
Whichever you want.
Should we start with, whatever his name is, I can't think of his name now, even though I've just done it. Paddington.
Yeah, you can do.
So now this is quite a traumatic story. Now we both found this story separately because we both, collect the news and a meeting in the middle. And I found this story and I was watching it and I saw the video and saw it and I was just a bit shocked by it and I couldn't understand why they did it. And Mother saw it, I don't know how you saw it, but you were sort of thought the same.
I mean, it's awful, isn't it? But they were drunk out of their minds.
I did think that when they were going, I thought you looked drunk. You do look drunk.
I think they were quite drunk.
Yeah.
That they shouldn't be because they were RAF, weren't they?
You want to get the video up?
Yeah, I do.
And then we can show the video and then talk about it.
So
these... You got it?
No. Sorry.
So,
Billy's been quite stressful today. Ah, there.
Is that it?
Yeah, I don't know if that's the one.
I'll get it. Are you back?
Yeah,
I can get it.
Okay. She's going to get it. Billy's been doing the wagon today and we're sort of beholden to him. So we don't know when we're going. So I've been a bit stressed.
Right, just give it a second because she's just... Right, so these 2 lads, both 22.
William Lawrence and Daniel Heath.
Here we go. William Lawrence, and they're both RAF. What are they?
Engineers. From Odiham in Hampshire.
Thames Valley Police says the men are seen carrying the statue down the street just after 2 a.m. before they get into a taxi. The men took the statue back to the Royal Air Force Base in Odiham, where it was recovered by police the next day. In a fierce rebuke of their actions, the sentencing judge described Paddington as a beloved cultural icon.
Paddington!
Paddington?
Paddington.
Paddington! Sorry. And called the actions of the two the antithesis of everything Paddington stands for. The engineers pleaded guilty and were sentenced to 2 12-month community orders and ordered to pay for the statue's repair, according to police. An RAF spokesperson told CNN they are aware of the case. It's unclear if there has been any disciplinary action.
I don't think they've had too much luck because they've got a judge that likes Paddington. He clearly likes Paddington because I would just not go too much from the angle of Paddington. I'd just go from the angle of what they've done.
Yeah.
If I was a judge. But he's gone from the angle, Paddington!
How can you... And like Paddington's a real person. Like it's a real living thing.
Well,
I think that's what people think, don't they? They see it on the video, not people, but some people. And they become a bit confused and think that he's really like that. But he's not because he's made up, isn't... Oh, I am sorry. I haven't told you, have I? It's not the place to break it on the news, is it? He's not real. It's nice.
He's a bear. That's real.
But he's not a real bear because otherwise he'd be aggressive. Bears aren't friendly.
Yeah, but he's different.
You believe
He's
in
from
that daft
Peru.
judge, don't you?
He's different.
No, it's not.
He is different. He's different. He's not like the other bears.
Well, that's what the judge thought, but the judge is wrong as well.
I mean, I understand not many judges are bright sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. It depends which one you get, because it's like life. Sometimes you get really bad ones.
Yeah,
Sometimes
but you
get
expect
good.
judges all to be good, to be fair.
I know, but you do get the bad ones. But
Especially if you're there in the dock and you're innocent, you're thinking, oh God, or you've just been so stupid that you've dragged half of Paddington Bear off and you're thinking, oh God, I know, I've been really
but
stupid.
then again, should we blame the person who's made it?
Yeah, because that's the other way of looking at it is, right, if it's a good Paddington Bear, isn't it? Now, if I leave, say...
I mean, he does look...
I have a wonderful gnome.
It looks good, Paddington.
As I've shown before, I have an absolutely stunning gnome. If I leave that with a bit of super glue on a park bench in the middle of, say, London, am I surprised if I go back the next day and it's gone?
Well, it looks like a good bear. I mean, the bear
I
looks
think it
good.
looked pretty good.
Because sometimes
You'd want it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, sometimes... Well, they did. Sometimes you get sculptures and you think, what's that? Well, that one, you would look at that and think, that's good. But the thing is, he's just not glued it very well.
No, they've glued it really well.
Yeah, but if he managed to pull it off...
No, he
it's not
hasn't. He's pulled half of it off.
Yeah, I know,
So
but
they've
that
glued
half
it really
isn't
well.
Isn't glued very well, is it?
Well, I don't know if it's two halves put together and they've rived it and taken half off, or they've just rived it and that just it's sort of like jagged round half of it when he's put his arms around it. But I mean, if you're going to leave, it's obviously not metal, because that you wouldn't have been able to physically pull that off. So it's not been very well made. So if you're going to leave a very good looking Paddington Bear on a seat where people who've had a drink are going past, it's going to happen.
I mean, there must be a bit... I mean, if they're engineers, not necessarily, but...
They're 22, aren't they? They've been out. I'm not condoning it in any way, shape or form. I've never had the urge to steal a Paddington Bear.
Yeah, but you haven't been presented with one.
She could next week. And this lady...
I saw it. But
goes and gets the other half.
But they've got a lot of CTV, because the one I saw was from a different angle. I saw a better video. But the one I saw was better than that one.
So they're 22 years old. They're in the
He fell over when he
RAF.
was trying to pull it. He was so drunk, yeah.
They're absolutely drunk out of their mind, and obviously they'll have been under quite a lot of stress in the job, because it's not like you can go home at night and have a brew and stuff like that, is it? So they've just obviously had a bit of a release, haven't they, and done some... Basically, they've been two idiots.
I mean, it is usual for them.
And now they've got a criminal record.
But,
you won't call them, somebody stabbing somebody or something like that, but criminal to what they did. That's it, isn't it, for life? But it doesn't look like the RAF's not doing anything about it. I don't know.
Well, they've still got the job.
Well, it says they're not even that bothered, but they've got that few. If they, like, say they're pilot, engineers they are, aren't they? Did say they're engineers. How many RAF engineers can you get? So you've trained them up for, God, how many years will it take to train an engineer up? 5? And they've got brilliant work, they're brilliant engineers, and then you go, oh, I'm sorry, we've lost all that in your job because you stole half a Paddington Bear, because you've got to balance it out, haven't you? I mean, tell them off, but I wouldn't want to lose them, would you? Or if there was a war, we all got killed, but it doesn't matter because they got told off for nicking half a Paddington Bear. I'd rather they were there.
And especially if you had the war, part of the war thing, you needed to steal half of Paddington Bear.
You've got 2 men that know the job. No, I think they should be reprimanded.
Yeah.
I think they should
community service.
Yeah, they should be told off.
And then they've got to pay for it, which they've already got.
Oh yeah, they've got to pay
so
for
really,
it anyway.
that's
They've
fine.
got the community service. But
I would think that would
I
be
don't
fine.
think whatsoever
They've
they
got,
should lose
the
the
thing
job.
is, they've got
Now,
embarrassment as well.
if they constantly carry on stealing Paddington
Fix
Bears
it.
and can't
Put it
work
back.
it out,
There we go.
get rid of them. But they've done it once. They probably feel like a couple of idiots now.
Probably a bit of embarrassment.
Bit of embarrassment. God, can you imagine back at the place, the digs, the amount
I just think
of...
everybody would just take the mick
Yeah,
out
they
of
will.
them.
That's what I mean. They won't be able to walk down, will they? Marmalade jokes. But you're packing your bags and all this.
What
lot.
sandwich you got today?
Yeah. They're going to have a...
Some salad. Not marmalade.
It's marmalade, isn't it? And then all howling away. So they're going to have a miserable existence as it is. So
Yeah,
no.
I think pay it back and a bit of community service and they'll be right.
Yeah. So Van Transit's on. It's
Oh.
busier than what we thought. We've done it very early for anybody that's just come on, because we've got a
work to
very
do.
exciting bit of work with Billy, haven't we? Bob says hi.
Hello.
Aina says, did they take his spare sandwich under his hat? Well, that's one of the jokes they're going to get at him, isn't it? And people lifting the hats up and stuff like that. And Desert Guy says, that poor bear. And Fat Boy says, hello, Matilda, you look lovely today. She looks lovely every day, don't you, darling?
Very hard. I do struggle.
It just comes naturally.
It does, it's a struggle. Right. What one should we do next? This one.
Whatever one you want, love.
This one. So, this has been inside the news a bit, but not dramatically, like, you know, not like the mainstream, but it's sort of like mainstream, but not, I don't know. But it's basically been inside a bit of the news, but enough for me to say it. So these couple, this is a husband and, I'm pretty sure a husband and wife, aren't they? A partner anyway. And they have a, what do they have? They have a...
child at school, and it's Marie Allen, 50, and Rosalind Levine, 46, from Boreham Wood.
And what happened was, one day, 6 police officers turned up to their house and arrested them. Now, there isn't really that much to that. It's very of a confusing story. I do find it a bit confusing. But what it happened is, they have a child at a primary school. The child does have learning difficulties, and they suddenly, I think, when their headmaster left the school.
Yeah.
So you know whatever they do when they leave, and they appointed,
And somebody already at the school, a teacher already at the school, got appointed the job.
Before they never got advertised for, so they didn't give anybody else a chance or advertise it. And once these parents found out about it, they just like sort of complained, or did they bring it up?
Well, they just complained.
I think they
wrote to the
complained.
school and complained, and then there was a WhatsApp group that they were chatting on, but loads of people were chatting on it and saying about it. And
so it
was a private group; it wasn't public.
Yeah, so they've complained about the fact of this headmaster, and then so they've complained to school. Then they have a parent WhatsApp group, which is just for the parents, which I suppose can't be dramatically big if it's a primary school. I mean, it can be big, but not.
But it's still private.
Yeah,
Doesn't
but
matter how big it is.
I'm just talking about it now.
Yeah.
I'm just making a comment about it. And then what they were talking about, and they were just everybody was saying things about it, you know, about how, you know, ridiculous it is and stuff. So they were going on about it, and then their messages must have got leaked, mustn't they? Somebody's leaked them.
Well, basically, there's a snitch in the WhatsApp group.
There's a snitch inside the WhatsApp group, which who found out who was snitching? Somebody, a celebrity. I can't remember who did it. Do you remember that celebrity?
Oh, Rooney. Rooney.
I think it was where
Yeah.
somebody was snitching, and what she did was she did a really like dramatic thing, something like she was going to get an abortion or something inside of a country, and she only let.
Oh no, it wasn't abortion.
I can't remember what it was.
She was
It's
going
something
to
do with
have the child where you can have him know that it's male or female, boy or girl. She was going to do that. That's what she wrote.
that. And so she put
Colleen
that.
Rooney.
She put that on a story, didn't she?
Yeah.
And then she was trying to work out, because of the things that she put on her private Instagram keep getting leaked, and she only had, you know, close friends on there. So she was suspecting who it was. So then she put a post up on a story and only allowed her to see it, and then it got into the newspaper. So obviously then she knew it was her.
And they called her Wagatha Christie. Colleen Rooney. Because Wag, that's what they call footballers' wives. Wags. So they called her Wagatha Christie. That's what her nickname came. And it was Rebecca Vardy. And it was millions of pounds in court. It was unbelievable. Just proves there's no justice system. Because you couldn't do that.
No.
Because it was millions of pounds, wasn't it? For them to do that. So somebody could go and say something really bad about you, and you take them to court, and you can't actually do it, can you? You can only do it if you're very rich. So the court system doesn't work, does it?
No. But basically it's got leaked. And then,
We don't know who it was.
but, can you just read that bit? And then, read what happened next.
Hertfordshire police detained them. They arrested them in front of the young daughter. They then had to go get...
So this is all about the fact of them having a chat about can you just explain it a bit more simply, because it's a bit confusing?
Well, they were having on a WhatsApp group, and they were talking about them, but nothing was put public. But it's irrelevant if something's put public, because even if they had put something public, unless it was a threat, so if they said that school's an absolute load of crap and I won't send my child there, it's still a civil offence. It's nothing to do with the police. It's not a criminal offence.
Well, I think something said about they were saying about, well, the parents saying that the school said at one point, before this sort of happened, they're not to post anything at all, anything about the school and stuff, saying
You
things.
can't tell people
Well,
that.
that's what they said. Oh, they found it a bit strange when that happened. They said, well, they were like, why? And I think this whole thing's happening because for some reason the police, the school, I don't know if they're covering something up because they just don't want anything said about anything. And they just
schools can be very controlling people. I mean, hence why I home educated you two. They were very controlling, so they didn't want anything saying about their school, which they've got to accept things are said about everything. But unless the parents, which they weren't, were sending something threatening, they said, oh, they were inundated with emails. Well, they'd stop they wouldn't have a meeting with the parents. So the only form of contact was email.
And that is a normal complaint.
It's irrelevant, isn't it? Even if you send me 5,000 emails, as long as they're not threatening, you can just press the block. That's it. So
I think they even banned them from parents even.
yeah, they
and
banned
stuff.
them, so they had no way they wouldn't even tell them about the daughter, so they had no way of contacting apart from email. And they've overstretched it, haven't they? They've threatened them, haven't they? It's that they've used the police, and the police have been incredibly stupid. I mean, I just can't understand how they would do it in this day and age when they've got to know that this was going to make news.
But then after that happened, because of basically all it's just trying to make it simpler. The fact of
It's quite simple.
One to me, no. I think so, and outside it wouldn't be. But what's happened is they've basically complained about quite a simple thing, and then they've all they've had a go at them. Everybody's been fighting backwards and forwards, and then they've got the police involved. But the thing is, when the police turned up to the home, the 6 police officers turned up to the home, the parents actually took their child out of that school because so much stuff was going on, and they weren't even allowed to, talk to the school. They took their child out of the school and took it to another school, and after a week after that, then the police turned up. So actually, those parents were nothing to do with the school, were they?
No, they're taken a while, but the police had a bundle of evidence, and they didn't have any evidence at all. They had a bundle which they presumed was evidence, and they didn't even look through it before they arrested them. Well, you don't arrest people for that sort of stuff anyway, so the reason why you'd arrest someone if they wouldn't come, obviously if they've been charged with something, they've an allegation or suspicion of something like murder, even some like historic rapes, they don't get arrested, they get spoken to first of all. So it's just incredible that they arrested both of them as well.
The woman the female one, she said that she opened the door and she saw these 6 police officers. Now her child was at school, so she immediately thought, which would be quite a normal parent thing to do, was, oh my God, something's happened to my child.
If you get 6 officers at your door, you think something serious has happened.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
So she turns around immediately and says, is everything all right? Is everybody okay? And they didn't answer anything. They didn't answer it and just says, are you, what's her name is?
They're Maxie Allen's him and unless he's called Rosalind. He might be called Rosalind.
So then
Rosalind living 46.
So then she turned around and goes, yes, and she said again, is everybody okay? And she says, oh. Then he turned around and said, we're all right to come in and have a chat. I don't think she said have a chat. I think she said, all right to come in. So she did, and then so she did, and thinking, right, we're going to sit down now, which in my mind, I'll be thinking we're going to sit down and he's going to tell me. So then he goes, oh, I started listing it off, we're arresting you for this and that. And she immediately thought we were a relief of the fact he wasn't a child. But then she was thinking, hang on a minute, what's this about? So then after they arrested her husband, I think his husband, we're going to say his husband today, they got married. Partner. I think was upstairs, or he's had another room on a work Zoom call. And he was like, I'm looking at the screen now. He saw 2 police officers open the door behind him. So he looked round.
And that's all his work. Oh,
yeah.
There could be people, and that's ruined his work, hasn't it? Because anybody that sees police think, oh,
But
immediately think, oh, what have they done?
But the thing is, he's walked into their home, so the police officers have walked through their whole house and opened the door.
I know, and he could have been getting undressed.
Exactly.
They're disgusting. I really hope they sue them. I really do.
So then he said, oh, it was a bit awkward, I had to get off my work call.
Yeah, but you think how many people there could have been 20 people on that Zoom, and can you imagine they all go back and say, you won't believe it, oh yeah, he was arrested. So that's his reputation.
Well, then he had quite the home he lived in was quite like a cul-de-sac, but like a tight cul-de-sac, not where there was gardens in between, like a tight one. The video shows him walking out, so the police, he was all covered up. And then they went into the, what do you call them, cells. They went into separate cells, and they were there for about 9 hours, I think. And the thing is, I've obviously got a 3-year-old child, so I think they just sent it to their mother-in-law. Well, the thing is, not everybody has a mother-in-law or a person, so what would they do with the child?
I know. They're just nuts.
And then they both got separately interviewed. And then the woman, when they were getting interviewed, she said to them, they said something, I can't remember what it was, something about, this is the reason why you're getting arrested. Something about, I think something about the fact your comments have been, whatever they've said.
Malicious communication.
Malicious communication. So she turns around, she goes, well, what defines that? What is that define? And then they said, oh, we don't know. And they Googled it up on the phones in front of them.
They had to Google the law, did the police, and oh God, just unbelievable. So they've arrested somebody for a law they don't even know what the law is. It just beggars belief. It really does. It's frightening that they have got that power, and I just hope they sue them. They've got to sue them, and it's because it can't just carry on like that. 6 officers.
And then the police vehicles, and then he was saying that now every time a police car goes past his house, he thinks, oh no.
Well, you would do, wouldn't you? You would. Just.
But they were doing weeks of, you know, like sort of investigation, collecting this data. Because I think they posted something on social media, just something about learning difficulties with children in schools, and they said that they didn't say anything. They didn't say what school it was. They didn't say even where they lived. They didn't say anything. They were just talking about it, not to do with that school. And they were even, you know, putting that as, you know.
Yeah, but even if they had, it's still a civil case. It's nothing to do with the police. And it was Cowley Hill Primary School, and they want head teacher wants sacking. Although there wasn't one, was there? Because it was a recruitment process for one. But they need to bring into an account, because that's all public money. That's all taxpayers' money that's wasted all that time and all this. How many thousands would it have cost? And Mr. Allen claimed this feels like a case of a public authority trying to use the police to close down legitimate inquiry, and for some reason Herefordshire Police played along with it. Naughty. Christopher says hello.
Hello.
So yeah, so there you go. Unbelievable, really.
Now the Grand National is next week, so I thought we could do a few facts about it, because I think it's quite interesting to know about these things.
Are you betting on the National?
Are you betting on the Grand National?
Do you agree with the National?
Do you? You know, debate. But Peter Simpleton, is it Simple or just Simpleton?
Peter Simpleton.
Peter Simpleton is a very simple chap. But is the oldest horse to win the Grand National at 15 years old when he won in 1853. It was a while ago, wasn't it? Yeah. I think there's not been one there since. Now,
no, he's held his title for an incredible amount of time.
And in horse years, that would be about middle age, late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah.
So, you know, would you like to run the Grand National?
No.
No,
I wouldn't. I don't think I could. I don't think I could get to the first bends. I'm too knackered.
It's about 4 miles long as the Grand National, the, you know, Aintree race course. And the first race took place in 1939, and the winner was called Lottery, and the odds were 5 to 1. The record for the fastest Grand National win is somebody.
Mr. Frisk.
Mr. Frisk. I tell you what. Mr. Frisk, he was frisky.
But he's kept it, even though the race is shorter now. I mean, it's quite incredible. In 1990, he won it in 8 minutes 48.4 seconds, and in 2013 they shortened the length of the course by 342 yards, and he still has the record. So that is pretty incredible, isn't it? That's Mr. Frisk. Can you see it? I can't see from here. Is that right?
You can see it.
There's a stunner. Bless him. When he died, he was only about 20. And he got a leg injury, had to be put down. He did all that racing. He didn't get his leg injury in racing. Can you believe that? Bless him.
So he was potting around the field.
No, I don't know. He didn't say how he did it, but Neville. Hi, we didn't know you were on. Been filming the road here. Well, we've had a little bit of a trauma, Neville. We've got to go do a wagon, and Billy told us a time, and then things change, and we have to go. So we've had to change the times, and we thought we were going to be after going with Billy. So we suddenly put a post out saying 8 o'clock, and then it changed, and we were before Billy going with him. So we've had to do it really early, Neville. So really sorry about that.
Yeah.
And Ian's not betting. Dave says, hello, am I late or early? We've just messed up, Dave, with the timings. I'm sure you've heard that. So yeah, and I don't think Neville will be betting, because I don't think if I remember rightly, Neville, you don't like the Grand National, do you not? I don't think. And Neville says he didn't see the post yet, so we've been a bit rushed. Sorry, Neville. So yeah, so we're just talking about now, will you be betting on the Grand National? Do you agree with the Grand National? Do you not?
Well, there's a little fact
do you
here
love it? Do you hate it?
that there's been more injuries in the Grand National since they've made it safer.
I can fully understand that.
You want to talk about that? Explain why?
Well, this is my opinion.
Because obviously we've got a professional here. I brought them in
not
specially.
really. I
brought
trained
in
a
the
Grand
professional
National horse.
I brought in a professional today for the news. So this is a professional horse rider.
I part trained a national horse, and it came 10th, called Harley, many years ago. And the reason why, in my opinion, there's more accidents, which is fact, there has been more deaths, is because they've lowered the fences. Therefore, you can, and they've shortened it, the ground. They've made the ground better in front of fences. They've changed like so if it's boggy, it's a better going. So when years ago, when they didn't do all this and it was more of a natural thing, like galloping through fields and going over hedges, the horses and the riders respected the ground and the fences more. But also what happens when you get something where, if you lower fences and do better ground, you can get speed. And to get speed, you need a lighter weight horse, because obviously something heavier runs slower. So years ago, you used to have horses bred just for the Grand National. So there'd be big, heavy chasers, and so they'd have strong bones, and that's what they did. So they'd go to slower pace. I mean, obviously, like Mr. Frisk, that's obviously good ground, that's a one-off. But generally, they go at a slower pace. They respect the fences more. They'd be sturdier to land at bigger drops and everything. And that's why now...
It's like you've got a ballerina. Or a...
yeah, I would have sort of like compared it to that, but that's why there's more accidents. Because they've tried to make it... It often happens if you try and make something too safe, it goes the opposite way round. So you're not going to fly into, say, a massive 6-foot fence with a 6-foot ditch in front of it, and are you going to respect that? And you're going to have bigger, stronger horses and slow it down to jump it. Where if it's 5-foot fences with, say, a 4-foot ditch in front, you've got a lot of lighter weight horses that can just fly over that and jump through the top of it and go faster. And where there's speed, there's money. So that's why. So, yeah, it's one of those things that they've tried to make it safer and made it more dangerous.
But the thing is that people never, sometimes don't know the fact that horses enjoy racing. Because people always think, oh, that horse don't want to race. Well, it does. Well, how do you know it don't want to race? They do want to race.
I can understand that people think it, but that's why loose horses carry on, and you wouldn't get a horse to jump. If a horse didn't want to jump a jump, believe me, you will. It doesn't matter. You can be Tony McCoy, you can be the best jockey, you can be Lester Piggott. You will not get it to jump over that jump unless you.
I suppose Lester Piggott got many horses jumping over a jump.
You beat it or something like that, which you wouldn't do. So you just wouldn't get it over. So I can understand that, but I think what a lot of people worry about is what happens to the horses that aren't any good. But that goes back to it, doesn't it, to money. So the racing authority could change things, like they could say I don't agree with racing 2-year-olds in any way, shape or form. I think it's totally wrong because they're not matured enough. So they could put the age up to 4, 4 years old, and that'd stop so much breeding coming through, because a lot of them, when they're raced at 2 years old, then they're damaged, aren't they? They've not got the bone structure for it. It's obvious. You don't have to know anything about horses to know that, and they're not fully formed. And I think that's why a lot of people don't like it. Not so much the actual horses going on the racetrack. It's what happens to them afterwards. But a lot of these horses, especially the winners, will go on to have celebrity lifestyles, basically. Mr. Frisk and all ones like that. Red Rum.
Got to do one day's work and it's sorted then.
Yeah. And we brought on a lot of national horses when I worked on one of the yards, and we retrained them to riding horses, and they always made good horses, so... Yeah.
Well, the thing is, just because of, they've done loads of racing, you're not just going to get rid of it, because if it's still a horse, you can still
but if
work
they've
with
got,
it.
say, they've got a 2-year-old and it's gone into racing, and it's as flighty as anything, and it doesn't do any good, and it does one season, it's then 3, and let's say then it's got a leg problem because it's been raced at 2. No rider is going to buy that. No profession, like the lady that wants to bob down the road. But you get a Grand National horse that's it races until it's 13, 14 years old, and it's, you know, it's an old hand at what it does. It's had a lot of experience. It's seen all the stuff and everything, and it's slowing down in its age. Will make a perfectly good hack. And as I say, back 10 years ago, not so much now, when they were stronger, they won't have leg problems, or they might have an old injury that it's not lame with anymore. And so it's got a life outside of racing. And it's quite simple what to do, but they won't do it because there's money in it. It's with, like, my opinion, in flat race horses, is put the age up to 4. So they can only race once they've gone past their 4th birthday. But they obviously won't do that because there's so much money in it. And Neville says, right, Jane, won't be betting here! Exclamation mark. I didn't think he would. And he says, it is and will always be very dangerous for the horses. Dave says, I have never bet on any race, but I've occasionally taken part in sweepstake for national. Neville says they don't have a choice, and Dave says, hope that you have a good Mother's Day, Jane. I had a wonderful Mother's Day, Dave. Matilda got me that many presents. It's like Christmas. I still haven't opened some of them. And Billy got me a rose and flowers, didn't he? So yes, they've both been wonderful. Even Billy. He's been well behaved today, hasn't he? It's been a joy. So yeah, we had a wonderful Mother's Day.
But you know, like yeah, I mean, like, Neville, I obviously completely understand where you're coming from when you comment there. I completely understand it. But like you were saying, I mean, if they didn't want to jump a jump, they're not going to jump it, are they?
No, they're not. No.
So I suppose there's some choice there, isn't
I don't
there?
suppose well, obviously they don't have a choice. But then again, I don't know how far do you go. They don't have a choice if they're ridden down the road. They don't have a choice if they're going out in a horse and cart. So
But they're never going to be born, are they? But the thing is, like, you say that, but they have so much enjoyment, you know, and then they go out in the field and when they're racing, you know, they're
I think, like
loving
I
it.
say, I don't have any concerns about the horses in racing. Because they love it if they're racing it and they're looked after. I do have concerns at what happens to them afterwards, I must admit, because there's that many going through, especially flat youngsters. That's a great concern, and I don't think that should be. But, you know, I have to fight things like the incompetence of North Yorkshire Police and stuff like that, so I don't have time to take everything on.
No.
But that's what people should be against more. I mean, more than the horses racing. Not saying this against you, Neville, just saying, obviously, that's your opinion, that's fine. But people as a whole, I think, should be more worried about the age of the horses that are racing and what happens to them afterwards. Because a lot of them, you know, a lot of the ones that we rode, I mean, I used to ride, I worked on a race yard, so I had to ride 2-year-olds that had just been broken. And I was a lot younger then. You don't understand it as much then, you know, and then as you get older you understand more. But you'd have to be a very good rider to ride them. They're not just gonna, and then if you're that good a rider, do you want them? You know what I mean? Because you'd be doing other things. So they haven't got a life out of after that. That's what I'm saying. What happens to them, I don't know.
Yeah. But where is it? The chase is the biggest.
And Neville says, I'm sure adrenaline kicks in when the horses are racing, then they don't have time to consider the dangers. Well, definitely. If they didn't have the adrenaline, obviously they're not going to win it. And they're all racing against each other for the end, aren't they? And different horses are different. At that level, they're going to want to race, and all horses are different, aren't they? Some of them, you know, will really finish a finish. Others just throw the towel in. And then they go, you know, you could have a horse that was never going to win a race at all. It didn't like to finish, but it liked to race. And they're ideal for like amateur racing, like point to point. And for somebody who just wants to go and enjoy it, there's many people that I've raced against, and they're never going to win a race, but they just enjoy going and knowing they've got a safe horse that's going to get them round as safe as you can be with racing. But it's never going to be a world beater, so they've got a job to do. There's a job for them. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, it's everybody, each to their own. Ian says, well done, Billy. Neville says, well done, Billy. And I think that's right.
I find I got over 17 presents.
Yeah. Neville, can you just and Ian, can you please say well done, Matilda?
I got Mother loads, and I
talked about
I
Billy.
took months.
I talked about, that's why they've put well done Billy, because I actually spoke about Billy, so that's why they've both put it there. But so I'll say it now, and I'll say to Neville and Ian, and Matilda did really well as well. There, they'll put well done Matilda now.
I did handmade things.
She did.
I bought antiques. I bought
did.
vintage. I bought
Can I
harvest.
bring those things down you made?
If you want to.
Because we're nearly finishing now. We're going to have to. He's starting the wagon, so I think we're going to be having to just shoot off soon. And then Neville's put naturally well done, Matilda. See, you got a well done. There you go. And Dave's put well done, both of you. I think Neville's in with the brownie point there. I'm just gonna watch that while I just go get them. They're absolutely brilliant. You will love these.
Yes, I did do very well with the presents. I won't get into them, but I did very. I got some lot of stuff. And now, 9-year-olds have won the Grand National 45 times out of the 169 races. You'd think there'd be more than 169 races to say that it started so long ago. Wouldn't you? Really? Let me just quickly read this before I read it to you. Oh, there's one year where Mother explained it to me. She'll probably explain it better, but I think it was in 1993, where they were messing about at the starting line with the person who says, all right, the horses go. And they were messing about trying to get these horses done. They keep lining them up, and they actually had a really, really good line, and then they told them to re-line up again, and for some reason the fence opened up before the actual she's just coming now, before the actual flag goes down. So you have a fence that goes up and then your flag. Well, you just explain that story after you finish doing this, because I've just started explaining it. You know that story, that one there, you were talking about it.
So you said 9-year-olds have won 45 there. Right. Well, in 1993, I'm sure people will remember this, I remember it quite clearly. There was the start of the National, and I can't remember how much it happened, but I think there were 2 false starts, or maybe even 3. And when you're lining up for the National, you've got 4 miles. So say you were doing an 8 furlong flat race, you wouldn't line up anyway, going gates, but just for an example, obviously it really matters if a horse is a metre in front of you, because you've got an extremely short distance. But in the Grand National, because you've got 4 miles and all those fences, it's irrelevant if somebody's 15 foot in front of you, because you're going to gain that. You're going to all sort each other out. And I think, from what I remember, the starter was messing about, so they lined up quite well the first time, and they used to have a rope that went up, I think, yeah, the rope that went up. And they went up, and they were really all together, and they should have let them go, and he didn't, and he called them back again. And he didn't put the flag down in time, or he didn't put it down, in fact, it made it void. So they set off, and I think there were about 40 in the field, and about, I don't know, about 30, maybe 25, 30, realised and stopped, but 11 of them carried on. And the crowd were waving, and they were shouting the flags and everything like that. And when they came around the second time, a few of them realised, but it still left 7 racing. And they completed the National, did 7 jockeys.
Not many people here today.
Yeah, doing well. There's a lot of fun.
There must be so far back.
We could have a little break at beaches if you wanted. That's absolute rubbish, that lot, aren't they? So anyway, so they got, but they're not gonna, like when I said, when I've raced and Matilda was in the crowd and she says, why didn't you hear me? If you're a good jockey, you are totally tunnel visioned, and if you're in the National, you're going to be a very good jockey. You don't see anything going on. So they carried on, and they raced, and it was void because it hadn't started. Can you imagine the guy
going over the line thinking, oh my God,
I know, winning the National. I know, and the trainer,
second, third,
and the owner
fourth.
of the horse, and it just meant nothing. But I think what went wrong to stop them, instead of just one man walking out with a flag, you know, like if a horse had fallen or a jockey was at the fence, they'd see that. But because there were so many people going mad trying to stop this race, they thought it was you know, horse racing people that didn't want it to go ahead. And so they thought it was a load of commotion stopping them, and they just carried on. So anti-race protesters, that's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, it was a false start, and 75 million had been bet on it. Not that it was a false start, you know, prior to that. But Esh won it, and they didn't really win it because it was a void national.
It's not good. Did they ever win it again?
No. There's not many horses that win it twice.
You could say, I won it, but I didn't win it.
Well, they're still gone down in history as they're actually the only horse and trainer ever to win a void national, or ever to come at the front of a void national. Because obviously the other, I'll be down in a minute. Obviously the other horses didn't stand a chance because the jockeys had pulled them up.
Thank you.
God, you'd be sick, wouldn't you? All that training, you really would. And Breaking Bad says, be vegan, stop animal cruelty. I'm not going to eat them, I wanted to raise them. Right.
But vegan doesn't count vegetarian, it's sort of animal. Okay, anyway, carry on.
Right. So,
Right.
this is what she made me. They're absolutely wonderful.
So they
Look
go
at
inside
them.
the garden, and I've made. I might straighten them a bit more, but what I'd used was I was struggling to get the wires. I needed you know, a metal like this to do it. So I went to a person that I know who I thought could get me them. They said, oh well, I could possibly do it for Thursday. Came back, they didn't have it. So then I was like, oh great. But I was chatting to them thinking, what can we use to make this wire thing? So they didn't really come up with anything. And then I came back, I was just walking back, and I came across what you use when you make...
You tie in the walls.
Tying the walls, and I looked at it and thought, I wonder if I could straighten that. So I went back to the person I was talking to and I said, do you reckon I could straighten what you tie in the wall and make it into? He said, well, probably, you know. So I went back home, within about 5 seconds, came back and said, done it! And then I was like, that'll do. And I made it so you can put your veg down. This is
particularly wonderful. Look at that.
This is the carrot one.
Aren't they great?
I am gonna get Billy to maybe straighten them a bit more better because I'm just showing you different ones. I don't know if I have one that's a bit more circular, but
And the peas.
The peas. I don't know if I think this one will be better. This one here. Got the peas. The peas.
Aren't they wonderful? I thought they were great. I think they're
I
absolutely
ran out of
brilliant.
red paint, so the tomato had to be a bit more of a different colour.
Well, we're going to paint it red over the top.
Well,
Neville loves them.
they are. They are.
Aren't they brilliant, Neville? I think they're just wonderful. I couldn't believe it when I
So
got
you just
them.
stick
I
it
think
into
they're
your ground
absolutely
and then you plant your seeds.
And so many times when you're doing, people who plant will know, or especially me, I'm really lazy to bother to put anything in. And I think, oh, what's in there? I think, I'll remember it. And then you've also got soil all over your hands, or you can't find your pen. That's perfect.
And also, it's enjoyable to put them up, isn't it? So you're going to do it. And
Ian says he'll have a pea, please, Bob.
Just trying to get
Remember
it
that whenever they did it, they used to all howl, didn't they? I don't know if it's still on anymore.
No carrot.
It's wonderful.
And just handles. I've put varnish on it. I've coated it twice with varnish. I hope it's. I mean, whatever it's called. Whatever you call it, it's varnish.
Varnish, it is.
It's
Yeah.
called varnish.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
I think they're absolutely amazing. I'm over the moon with them. So she's going to make some more, and then our whole garden is going to be full of them.
I wasn't too sure fully which ones to do, but the strawberry ones are good. I like my potato. My
I think they're
potato's
absolutely
good.
wonderful.
And especially my carrot. I like them all really. My
I think they're all
peas.
wonderful.
Peas came out. It did a lot of
Well,
trying to get to
we
them.
better go, and it's not been as bad as we thought. It's been quite a few viewing figures.
People coming
Usual.
on.
So thank you so much for everybody that joined in, and sorry for the people who will watch this later and missed it, but we have to get this wagon so that it can get MOT'd and sorted. So he's off to get it. So Ian says enjoy, and all have a great day, and anybody
Yes.
who's celebrating Mother's Day, all have a wonderful day.
Yes, indeed.
And Neville says short but sweet. Yes, thank you very much for joining in, Neville. And thank you to everybody that's joined in. Van Transit says bye and goodbye.
Goodbye.
And see you soon, and be some videos coming up of the events of today.
Yes. See you all later. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you all next
Thank
week.
you so much. Bye.
Bye.